What up, homies and home skillets? It's your boy, Dan the Man, the Loyal Dan. Today we're talking some Demon Slayer Infinity War. I mean, Avengers Infinity Demon Slayer Infinity Castle. Alright, so one day, in the spur of the moment, my brother was like, let's go see Demon Slayer. And I was like, dang son, pack your bags. We went to the theaters and saw it with some fellow weebs. Gotta say, it was a great experience. The audience was respectful and quiet. That was the first time that happened in a long time. It also helps that the movie was awesome. So this is a story that's a continuation of the anime series, so you're gonna be confused as heck if you just jump into this movie with no knowledge of the story and characters up to that point. First things first, the animation was on point. I think they really nailed down the mixing of 2D and 3D animation. The action scenes were great, and there's a lot of action. It's not just the animation, but the soundtrack and sound design too. And I was not expecting the music to be so good. Did they get Phil Collins to do the music or something? The director contacted him and was like, Shin Megami Tensei Persona? And then Phil was like, Some of it actually sounded like the rave music from the first Blade movie. Also, their sound design was really great. Definitely, they made use of the theater sound system. And because of that, I would say this movie is worth experiencing in a theater, because it really makes use of all the surround sound and like the big booming action sounds that you wouldn't get if you were to watch it at home. Although, unfortunately, that's kind of a gamble with how disrespectful audience members can be. We lucked out this time when we went. I've been seeing some people online complaining about these dang weebsters ruining their theater experience. Like they're like talking during the movie, or they're getting up before it's even over. Stuff like that. Alright, so you got all these elements, right? Animation, the sound design, the music, right? All these elements, they can create an awesome spectacle of a fight scene. But I'll say it's the characters and story that elevate it even further, in a way that makes you care about what's happening and what the outcome of the fight is going to be. All that is here too. These are characters that you care about, and because of that, the action scenes can get real tense when it feels like a character is in danger. And I think my favorite part was when Tanjiro was like, Tanjiro? He jumped into the scene and he's like, Yo soy Demon Slayer. And the demon was like, Nani? Then Tanjiro does a backflip. That was my favorite part. So I think the villains are standouts here. They're given ample screen time and their characters are fleshed out through these flashbacks. I think some people are going to be annoyed by these scenes because there are quite a bit of them, and they're scattered throughout the action scenes. But you know, if these flashbacks weren't in the movie, I think it would just be a straight up action scene from beginning to end, like with no breathing room. So it kind of gives the action room to breathe, and it also provides like deeper characterization. But I was having that gut reaction though. Whenever a flashback happened, I was like, another one? Here's another one. You know, like an intense moment is happening and you're waiting for what's gonna happen. Like one of the characters is about to like do this move on another character and it's like in slow motion and the tension's ramping up and you're like, oh shoot, what's gonna happen? And then one of those characters interrupts with the narration and then a flashback happens. The villain's like, this reminds me of when I was human and had to wipe my butt without wet wipes. Nani? And I'm just like, come on, bro. But then I find myself being engaged in these flashbacks because they were really well done and I thought they were pretty interesting. It also helps that most of them were, I think, fairly short. Most of them. There's one flashback that felt like it was 20 or even like 30 minutes long. This one I was more conflicted about because it was just one long, uninterrupted stretch of this character's backstory. But it was a compelling story on its own. I was fully engaged during that sequence. But at the same time, the thought in the back of my mind would be like, yeah, this is going on real long. And the movie's got a beefy runtime at like 2.5 hours, I think. And it runs at a fairly quick pace. But that particular flashback slows things down a bit, which isn't a bad thing, but whatever. Yeah, so like I said, I really think the villains are a standout because I felt like they were empathetic in a way, but also very hateable. Like, you just love to hate them. They made them like evil, like real evil at the same time. You know what I'm saying? A nitpick I had, though, was some of the narration. There were a few times where a character would just state what we're looking at. A character is like walking across the screen, then the other character is like, he's walking. What? He's blinking? Look, he's breathing. It's like, yeah, I know, dude. I'm literally looking at it happen. They also do that anime thing where they explain every move. Like, the action goes in ultra slow motion and the character's explaining what he's thinking in the moment and if he should dodge this way or that way or do like a kamehameha or kiss him or something. I don't really mind that aspect that much. I actually kind of like it because it makes the fights seem more strategic rather than just like, straight up choreography fight, which I like too, but there is something about that explaining why they're doing a certain move. It kind of makes it feel like what I said before, more strategic. So yeah, it was a great movie. Great action, good story, not enough kissing. I think they're making 2 more movies, is that right? So I'm looking forward to seeing those also. Oh, also the theater turned on the lights during the credits, but the movie wasn't even over yet. They had that, the credits overlaid over the actual footage of the movie. So the ending was happening and you have like the text scrolling or whatever. But the theater turned on the lights when that happened. And I'm like, the movie's not even over, dude. It was a good theater experience overall. Except for the freaking commercials before the movie even starts. Like, like the theater lights turn off and the sound system is getting louder and kicks in. But then they start playing literal commercials. Literal commercials like I'm watching cable or some crap. Then they think they can get away with 30 minutes of movie trailers? Think again, buddy. Think again. Stupid. It was a shorter video today than I was expecting, but I guess I'll see you guys next time. I don't freaking know.